Well, as we have been following for you, the FBI raided 3 hedge funds in its widening investigation into possible insider trading. Peter Rupp is with us. He's the Chief Investment Officer at Artemis Wealth Advisors, where he helps guide clients looking to invest in hedge funds. Peter, great to have you with us.
Thank you.
What are you hearing just from your own business right now? I mean, are you hearing about redemptions? What are hedge funds worried about?
Well, clients, first off, are not necessarily concerned at this moment. This whole situation is still unfolding. Clearly, to the extent that you might have been involved in one of these funds, there's a certain amount of anxiety, certainly with regard to that particular fund. But at this moment in time, I don't believe that anyone from a client side or from the hedge fund side believes this is a systemic issue. Instead, it's something that's contained to a
But there must be questions going on right now within?
If you're involved in a situation like this, clearly, if you're investing in a fund, there's many issues that you need to consider. What no one knows is how much or the magnitude of the legal profits that were generated within these funds. There's an issue of redemption, liquidation. There's an issue with regard to whether or not the managing member or the general partner of this fund is entitled to indemnification for legal fees in the event that he's sued by some entity. So, yeah, there is certainly
right, because I can imagine some of the clients of these hedge funds are now looking at their agreements. They're looking
I think it's safe to say with regard to the ones that have been mentioned already in the press,
yes, of course,
will suffer significantly.
But don't you think industry-wide?
No, not at all.
Why?
I think, with regard to this type of activity and the sharing of this illegal information, more often than not, it finds its way into certain sectors of the economy, or is predominant in certain sectors of investment, such as technology and biotechnology, where you have these binary events where the entire fate of a company is decided by a go or no-go outcome. So I don't believe necessarily that you're going to see.
What do you mean by that?
In other words, if it's a technology company and has a new product, if the product is successful, it could be a game changer. So there could be a significant increase or decrease in the value of the stock depending upon what the outcome of the technology. And specifically in a biotechnology space, if a biotechnology company has a particular product in front of the FDA, obviously phase 3 trials, the breaking of the code, the release of that information. If that information is positive, there is the potential for a significant increase or conversely decrease in the price of the stock. So that type of information is really at the root of a lot of these cases that are really being questioned right now.
Right, you're saying they're very specific then?
Yes, correct.
Okay. However, this investigation has been going on for 3 years. Doesn't that tell you that there's a wider angle to this?
I think what it tells you is that it's just very difficult to track down and to prosecute this type and to gather the appropriate evidence. Prior to the wiretapping brought into a place with regard to the September 11th attacks, it was very, very difficult for the government to pursue these type of cases. Now, when they actually have credible conversations and tapes of those conversations transpiring between individuals, it's a lot easier to track this. So I think what they're trying to do before they paint the entire industry with a big brush is they're trying to find out really the magnitude and the extent of the sharing of this type of information.
And you think the extent is going to be quite small?
It's really too early in the investigation to tell. They seem to be expending a tremendous amount of resources. I think what they have found so far involves some very prominent people in the industry, so I think it's very easy for people to broadly associate the industry with this individual. Right.
And at the hedge funds then, what do you think, just to preempt this, what would they need to do at these hedge funds?
Frankly speaking, all hedge funds, if they are good, and in their effort to produce risk-adjusted rates of return or superior risk-adjusted rates of return, have to develop edge. And edge is developed in very legitimate ways, good thorough analysis, the old-fashioned way, so to speak. Some decide to take the shortcut route and decide to act on inside information. So I'm not sure that this is a dramatic sea change with regard to how hedge funds are going to operate in the way that they do their business. I think there are a few select firms out there and perhaps some private networks in and amongst hedge fund managers that share this information. In the past, they might not have thought it might have been illegal to do so, but the reality is that I think when it's all said and done, it is going to be a sort of a very isolated and a smaller group that's being identified as a result of the government's investigation.
Peter, thanks so much. I appreciate you dropping in and giving your perspective on this.